Welcome to People, Places and Things with Celine. My name is Celine Desrosiers. Today my show is about fashion. It's about bags, traveling bags, yoga bags, handbags. And the designer and creator of all of those is Heidi Paine. Please join us and take a moment to see all the different stages that she will teach us. Here I am in the workshop of Heidi. Let me introduce you to her. Hello, Heidi. How are you?
Celine, hi. How are you?
I am good. I have been waiting for this moment for a while. We've been talking, Heidi and I, for almost a year on doing a show. And finally, how are you?
Excited.
Good.
This is a great day.
Good.
This is fantastic. You know, I just was able to just pick up my materials for my fall line. So I'm really excited about showing you what's coming next, for this fall.
Great. I would like to know, Heidi, a little bit about you. I saw your some of the information about you, and you're talking about when you were 5 years old. This is how it started with your grandmother. Would you please talk to us about that?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Actually, I was in kindergarten, so I think, I was about 5 years old, and my grandmother gave me a little sewing kit. It was so cute, and a little needle and thread, and she taught me how to, put it together and how to, just a little stitch here and there. Wasn't, obviously I was in a small child, but I just remember, this came back to me a while ago, that it was really important to me, and it was my beginning of having interest in sewing.
Yes. And do you remember any pieces that your grandmother sewed with you?
No, not really so much. I mean, I really didn't get into sewing until junior high. Should I talk about that a little bit?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I remember I had this awesome teacher, Mrs. Birch. Thank you very much, Mrs. Birch. And she was terrific. She, I loved being able to take just a piece of material. I'd wash it, and I'd have a big pattern, and I'd just be able to create a dress, a skirt, a blouse, or whatever I really wanted, and make my own clothes. Because back then, too, it was a lot cheaper to sew than it was, to go out and buy things.
That is true. That is true.
Great. I just loved it.
And then in high school, so you started to sew, and before your passion started to create all those beautiful pieces that we will talk a little later, you moved away. Were you kind of, something happened in your life that kept you away from the sewing machine? What happened?
Yeah, I didn't sew. Actually, I went to California, and I started acting a little bit, and I did some modeling, and that was a lot of fun. I was living in the beach, and I was having a good time. I wasn't really thinking about sewing so much back then, but then one thing leads to another, and then I decided to come back home, and then I started thinking about sewing again.
You must have had good idea being in California. This is where a big city of fashion. So your eyes must have been open and see a few things here and there that maybe unconsciously you gather together to do what you do today.
I think I must have been storing hopefully really good information. So because I've been able to present a lot of really interesting different bags and different styles, and my mother taught me something. She said, Heidi, simplicity is elegance. And that's what my bags are about. They're not about a lot of zippers and a lot of bangles and all these things. They're really very simple and very elegant.
Yes. The first piece that you created while you were sewing, later on I would like to show our audience the little pieces that you did. So we'll keep that at the end. What was the story about?
Well, as women get a little bit older, as you can only imagine. We start going through perimenopause, and we're having hot flashes in the middle of the night, and I hadn't sewn for, I don't even know how long. It had been a long time, and I even had my sewing machine was tucked away, and I said, geez, I don't know, I really want to work with my hands again. I want to do something. So I pulled out a couple of washcloths, because I used to make beachwear, and I cut them in half, and I started hand stitching, and I came up with this little template, if you will, you know, a style that I was thinking about doing these tops, you know, I was doing beach tops, actually. So
yes.
It was kind of fun. So I really wanted a wide strap, you know, because most of the narrow strap bags that hangs on your shoulder, and you know, if it's heavy, especially carrying a laptop and a bunch of things in your bag,
and it hurts,
right?
Yes,
it does. So what I did is I started designing. I started cutting and sewing and putting on snaps, and once you know, I came up with this really cool bag, and I said, oh. So I brought it with me to the A market. Actually, it was empty, and I forgot my recycle bag. So I go into the A market, and I'm checking out with my bag, and the cashier there says, "Where'd you get that bag?" And I said, "Oh, I designed it and I made it." She said, "Will you make me 4? I have 4 daughters." And I said, oh, wow, that is so cool. So that's kind of what led into my Heidi bag. That's where it started.
So Heidi, for the iPad and the computer, those laptop, what you do is that you make bags big enough to put it in, and then this is why you mentioned the wide strap, so when you carry something heavy.
Exactly. I have customers that actually travel quite often, and what they wanted was a bag that they could be able to, you know, look nice going into the airport, and you get your passport and you've got all your papers, or maybe you're traveling locally, but still you want to carry something nice and be able to put it in the seat in front of you. And that's what's great about my bags, is that they look great. You can put your laptop or your iPad into it, and you can, you know, fold it up and put it right in the laptop and the seat in front of you.
It doesn't take too much space, and like you said, it's very attractive.
Yeah.
I bought a few from Heidi, a few bags that I'll show you later, and my daughter has one that you gave her, and she just brings it. She's a swimmer. She puts her towel in there, she puts her goggles and everything. And when I saw the size of it, I believe that you must have customer that says, "Oh, Heidi, I will use it for this and that." What are your experiences?
Yes, exactly. What happened is that I do yoga, and I made a bag that was a little bit more specifically for the yoga folks, because they can put their towel and their water bottle in there, and it's washable. So you can be able to just throw it into the washing machine if you want to, and which all my fabrics, actually, because they're made of upholstery fabrics, that you can clean them off by just rubbing a little damp towel on it, and it gets clean.
That is great. Yeah. So we'll take a little break, Heidi, and then we'll come back and show you how it is made, all the different stages. So Heidi, would you please bring us to all the different stages on how to create the bags?
Well, what I did, Celine, because I knew you were coming, and so I got some things ready, because it is time-consuming. These bags take a considerable amount of time to be able to make each thing, and I try to put a lot of care, and I make different fashion decisions or different choices as I go along. But this is what I've kind of made some final decisions on these pieces. So what I do is I sew the lining pockets to the front and back, and then I put my little magnet snaps on them. And this is the main part of the bag, and I put the snaps on there. And then what I do is I attach the flap to the back of the bag. This is the medium bag.
Yes.
So I attach that. And then what I do is I attach the straps.
We'll show the audience if you turn it a little bit.
This is the strap for the lining. And this is the lining front, actually, here. And then we have the back part of the lining with more pockets.
Oh yes,
here.
I love. Aren't they practical for cell phone?
Oh, it's great in your keys.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes. And the fabric that you just showed us and the lining. May I take this one again, please?
Of course, sure.
Where do you shop to find those beautiful patterns?
Well, I can tell you that I found a store. It's Zimmons down in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Yes. It's okay.
I found a store in Lynn, Massachusetts, actually, that is just wonderful. It has exclusive patterns. These are all hand painted and rolled on to the fabric rolls. And so they make these bags exclusive, one-of-a-kind bags.
Yes, and they are washable, you said.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you going on to the stages here.
Okay, sure. Then what I do is I sew the pocket. This is the front part of the bag, the main part of the bag.
Yes.
Which
so
I have a lot of horse lovers that just love these bags. And then, of course, you have your pockets in the back. And I put the back snaps on there. And then we have the front. And I attach onto the main part of the main part of the bag. I attach the front to the straps like this. And then I start doing some top stitching.
Yeah.
You know, that's my finish work.
That's a nice finishing. You know, it's very it looks solid as well.
It does.
Yes.
It does.
Do you? I noticed you do the lining in those softer fabric, and the exterior, the out of the bag, you have leather and different other fabric. When you mix them together, is it a choice of the client, or you're just creating a bunch of them and sew them and then?
Actually, I do both. Sometimes clients will special order exactly the type of materials they want, or sometimes they'll have a pin, such as yourself. Maybe you'll show that later. Gave me a pin and said, this brooch is actually very special to me. It has a lot of meaning. Or someone will have a coat or some article of clothing that they had a loved one, wore it, say, a lot or something. It brings back a special memory, and what can they do with this? And I can certainly make a bag out of that and be able to make it precious for them.
Yes, and so this is all the assembly. You do it. Is there any part that you do by hand, or everything is made with the sewing machine? Because this is kind of thick. You must have the entire equipment to.
Yeah, what I do is I use a commercial sewing machine, actually. That way I give these bags a lifetime guarantee. Yes. So that, you know, if anything happened to it, of course they could return it. I'd either replace it or repair it. But they're so heavy duty. You can put up to 30 pounds of weight sometimes in some of these bags. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then and then, Celine, what I do is once I have the linings and the main part of the bag, then I go ahead and I put the lining inside, right sides together, as my teacher used to say, right sides together, Heidi. I still hear her saying that in my mind, so she definitely taught me right.
Your teacher, you mean, when was that?
In school, Mrs. Birch that I mentioned earlier. She was just great. So then I sew these together, turn it right side out, and then I can show you what that looks like too.
I would love that. We'll be right back.
what I'm doing is I'm placing the female part of the snaps, and I'm putting them on the main part of the bag. So first I cut the slits with a blade cutter, box cutter rather, and then I put it in, put a backing on there. We should see. Snip it over, close it over here. Fortunately, I'm strong enough to be able to bend it with my hand. And then I just move on to the next one. The outside. You know, originally I used to just have one snap in the front, and I found that the corners started flipping up a little bit. So I decided to go with the 3 snaps, and it turns out that my customers like it better because it's better for safety, you know. Because I think people are just still worried that somebody might grab something out of their bag or whatever, especially when you're traveling, like a lot of my customers do. So, and now we put on the final one here. And then the backing. Okay. Boom. See how we did? Voila! We have the snaps.
And we are back with Heidi, and we have some finished products right now. And there's one bag, Heidi, that you made for me that means a lot. And I'll tell you a little story. My good friends from Montreal, Françoise, she's 86 years old, and she gave me a brooch, and I left it on my jewelry box for a while, and then I knew one day that I would use it. So what I did is I brought it to Heidi. And this is the product that you did for me. And do you sometimes, in a part of your creation, how do you come to bring jewelry with leather and suede and?
Well, what happens, Celine, is that exactly what you just told me. You give me a story, you give me a brooch, and then that conjures all kinds of different emotions and feelings for me as far as being a creative person and being able to choose different colors and different styles and, you know, and how I want to go about creating your bag for you and knowing a little bit about you and how you want this done and why it's important to you. And from there, one thing leads to another, and an awesome bag is done.
Oh, and do you have different sizes that I would like our audience to see? You have different sizes, and talk to us about different line of season and different collection.
Okay. Well, what I do is I have 3 basic size bags. I have a small around town bag that, you know, you can use to be able to put your cell phone, your keys, and your wallet in, you know, if you're going out to lunch or something. Then I have a medium-sized bag, which is what I did is I took the iPad size, because so many people are using them for that, that I put the iPad in to make sure it fit. And then, of course, it can be used for a multitude of things. If you want to use it as your regular handbag, or if you want to use it just to go to the store, or whatever, that's fine too. And then I have a large bag that people, you know, will use for their laptops, because that's, again, why I started using it. Is the laptop, and then, or to be able to use it just because a lot of us like to carry so much stuff. That it's great to have a big bag to put it all in. Use it for a gym bag, use it for a travel bag, whatever. So.
Even, you know, maybe without that beautiful, elegant brooch, but the bag that you make, which are different color and either zebra print or different, a different look, men are using as well bags.
Yeah, believe it or not, you know, quite honestly, I'm selling them in P-Town, and I'm using them all over there. You know, a lot of different types of people want to use my bags. You know, they're unisexual, actually. Unisex bags.
That's
I think
a
they
word.
call it. Unisex bags. And, you know, they're really for anyone. And again, that's why I like to custom design for people. You know, we'll say, well, you know, I like this style, but I'd rather have it with this kind of fabric or whatever. You know, that's what I like to do.
And do you show your bags? Do you go to places? Do you we'll put your website, of course, at the end of the show. And so do you go to people, or most of the time they call you, they tell you, like this one, for example, who has, you have horses lovers that you mentioned. The other fabric, do you do it on your own? You go gather the fabric, or it's ordered?
It's interesting because it goes a lot of different ways. One, I do go to do shows. I went to a farm out in Salisbury a couple weeks ago, and that was wonderful. And you know, I get connections through that of stores that I need to go in. I've actually had people walk up to my booth and say, "You need to be in my store. Here's my card. Call me." So I was like, "Wow, okay, I'll do that." And then I also have people that want to do a home show. You know, like the old Tupperware parties or whatever, but with bags, you know, with something fashionable. They can have their glass of wine and be able to sit around and, you know, pick out their kinds of bags, or I bring an assortment of bags. They may want one already made. So.
That is such a beautiful story, and I can feel the passion in your voice. Since isn't that amazing? 5 years old and until already today, and having such a beautiful collection. Heidi, was there a pivotal moment in your life?
Actually, there was. In 1995, June 1st, actually, I was in a car accident and left me in a coma for 6 weeks.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, at that time, they didn't even know if I was going to live or die. And I was given a 10% chance of living. And then eventually, after a period of time, once I was breathing, I was bumped up to a 50% chance of living. And, you know, fortunately, my higher power saw something different, you know, wanted me to stay alive and wanted me to be able to create again. And so after going through all the rehab and you know, getting support from family and friends and all the loved ones around me, you know, I was able to walk again and talk again and be able to
sew again.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Two little story, Heidi, that we have been talking during the course of the show. The first one, I mentioned your first sewing. So there it is. Tell us a few words about it again.
Well, this was, as I mentioned before, my little perimenopause, staying up being up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's like, what am I going to do? And I thought, I'm going to start sewing again. So I took a couple of washcloths because I didn't have any fabric, and I cut them in half, and I made a little neckline for it, and this ended up being a top that I started making. So
this is so cute. You mentioned that you met the son of your teacher, the first lady that taught you how to sew. What happened recently?
Oh, well, actually, what happened is a couple of years ago, I received an email for a reunion, and I won't say what number. So anyway, it was a reunion for our school in Hollis, and it was from Craig Birch, the woman who gave me all those lessons, Mrs. Birch, her son. And I said, oh, great, I have her email address. I'm going to email him and get her address and find out, you know, if she is indeed still with us. And I'd like to, you know, compliment her and let her know what's going on with the business. So I did that. I got in touch with her. She wrote me back and thanking me, and I'm so, you know, so proud of you and happy that you started your own business. So
isn't that amazing?
It's great.
Amazing. Well, I hope you enjoy the show. I have learned so much about it is a lot of work, and the creation and the amount of time, and again the passion that you have for what you're doing. You know, this is an accessories. Handbags or other bags are something that really attract the eyes all the time. And now that I've seen how it's made, I will pay attention and notice, and of course wear them. And I would like to say thank you again. It was fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome, Celine.
I just got back from Heidi's studio, and I have a generous selection of handbags in my closet, including a few from Heidi. Simplicity and elegance defines her bag. I would like to thank our designer, Heidi Paine, and also my partner, Michelle, who is behind the camera and always helped me put my show together. Thank you for watching People, Places, and Things with Celine, and I will see you soon.